Take a break from your busy schedule and join Harold Sala for Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living.
When Gabriel Otero was in a government office in Argentina waiting his turn for help, another person who had come substantially after he had arrived was immediately processed. When Gabriel protested the fact that he had been there first, he was told that the other person had a letter from the Pope. The government worker explained, "He has a connection which we must honor." As Gabe related that incident, I couldn't help thinking of the time when John F. Kennedy was President of the United States and the world was at the point of conflict as Cuba had pointed its armed Russian missiles at the U.S. The situation was tense as reporters were being briefed in the Oval Office of the White House. Slowly, a side door opened, and a little 4-year-old boy walked into the room, the son of the president. The conference was stopped because the lad had a connection that was honored. Hey friend, have you ever wished that you had an inside connection with God, something which has to be honored? In a very real sense, if you are God's child, you do have that connection. In the upper room, immediately before he faced the cross, Jesus told the disciples, "If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be given to you." That's a connection that must be honored. Have you ever asked yourself, why should God honor my prayers anyway? Because you're a nice person? Because you're a good deal better than your neighbor or the other women in your office? No. But there is one reason, a connection that must be honored. You are a child of God, adopted into the family as the result of faith in Christ. Now, how do I know that? The Bible tells us this very clearly. Make a note of Romans chapter 8 and Galatians 4:6, which says, "Because you are sons, God sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, the Spirit who calls out, Abba, Father." That word Abba is an Aramaic word. It's difficult to translate. It has the connotation of a little child's crying, "Daddy" or "Papa" in some cultures. It brings the response of a father who hears his little child crying out in distress. Now, does God pay that much attention to the needs of His children? Is there really an inside connection, or is God rather indifferent to the needs of His children here on planet Earth? How explain why some people seem to pray, but nothing happens? Well, there are two options that are open to us. One is we can assume that God is either too disinterested or not powerful enough to meet us. Or two, we can assume there is an inside connection, but believers don't take advantage of it. We strive to solve our own problems. We bear the burden instead of laying it at the feet of the Father, crying out to Him to meet us at the point of our pain and our deep need. Long ago, James wrote, "You want something, but you don't get it. You kill and covet, but you cannot have what you want. You quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God." He said, when you ask, you don't receive because you ask with wrong motives. Friend, there is an inside connection with God. It is the result of what Christ did. His death makes it possible for us to come to the Father in His name. Jesus said, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." The next time you're standing in the line of doubt and concern, wondering if God really cares or if He hears your prayers, remember, you have an inside connection, one which must be honored. Never forget it.
You've just heard Dr. Harold Sala with Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living. If you would like to listen to the program again, download a copy, subscribe to our e-commentary, or view other resources, visit guidelines.org. We would like to hear from you too. You can email us at info@guidelines.org. That's info@guidelines.org. Thanks for listening, and we invite you to join us again for the next edition of Guidelines.